in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive.
Ever bite your tongue, hold back saying something, to avoid ruffling some feathers.
Oh, absolutely.
We're diving into that kind of thing today. This idea that to really think, to really get somewhere interesting, you have to be okay with maybe, possibly ruffling a few feathers along the way.
Yeah, I like that.
And the thing that got us thinking about all this is really simple, just a single sentence, actually.
Yeah, and it's a powerful one because it brings to light this thing, we kind of forget sometimes, that trying to actually learn something, to really understand, it can mean challenging some pretty well-established ideas.
Totally. And often the stuff that makes you stop and think, it's stuff that really pushes your buttons, that challenges you, it's not always comfortable, is it?
Right.
So break this down for us a bit. Why is there this connection between really thinking deeply about something and this potential to offend?
Well, imagine this. You're really wrestling with some complex issue, right? You're poking at assumptions, turning things over in your mind. And you hit on something, some idea, that it kind of goes against what everyone thinks is normal or acceptable. And it's in those moments where you're thinking differently, that's where you run the risk of bumping up against someone's, core beliefs.
Right. It's like the more you learn, the more you realize how much nuance there is, how many shades of gray.
Exactly.
And it's not so black and white anymore.
Yeah, and if we just shy away from those gray areas, right, if we're so worried about someone getting offended that we start censoring our own thoughts, well, we're basically putting up walls. We're limiting our own understanding.
It's true. And I think about major scientific discoveries or big moments in history. A lot of them came from people challenging what everyone thought they knew, challenging the status quo, even if people got mad about it.
Absolutely. Because if you think about it, if everyone always agreed, if no one ever got offended, would we ever make progress? Would we ever learn anything new?
It makes you think about how important it is to be able to have those tough conversations, but in a way that's, well, honest, but also respectful, right?
Right. It's a real balancing act. But this whole idea, this tension between thinking freely and this risk of causing offense, it's not about forgetting respect.
Right.
It's more about recognizing that feeling uncomfortable, it can be a good thing. Like when you feel that little urge to shut down, because something makes you squirm a bit, that's often a sign you're on to something worth exploring.
So lean into it, that uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah. It takes guts. Our source material's right about that. You need courage to be open to new ideas, even if they make you uncomfortable at first. And to have those conversations that are tough, even when they're hard,
It's less about I can be offensive and more about I'm going to be brave in my thinking.
There you go.
Even if it feels risky. So next time you find yourself holding back, not saying something, just remember that little bit of discomfort, that might be the start of your next big breakthrough.
Exactly.
Something to think about.
All right, folks, that's our deep dive for today. As always, keep those brains buzzing and stay curious.